Baylor National Championship head basketball coach Scott Drew with me, David Smoke, 365 Sports. Let me ask you this. Let's start with football. How much does a program, and you've seen the ups and downs and they're really, really good, and there's been some other ones, how much does that affect in any way basketball, recruiting, Baylor, et cetera?
I think it has a big effect. Why I say that is you look at the year of the Bear, some of our best years basketball-wise have been best years football-wise. Iron sharpens iron biblically, and I know when our players see success from the football team, it motivates, inspires, and at the same time, you want to be successful on campus like other teams are. So I think it works where all the athletes want to carry their weight and do their part. So admissions wise, I'm sure it has an effect as well. But on a personal note, couldn't be more happy for the staff. I know it's not easy when you get out to a 2-4 start, but what they did to finish the year was inspiring, motivating, encouraging, and tremendous job by the football team and Coach Aranda and the staff.
Yeah, no, it's been a remarkable run, and you've had to have teams have turned it around. Sometimes in the middle of the season, I'll never forget the Tristan Clark team when you had to completely change your mentality. This has been kind of a tough start considering what you're used to, but you've played really good people. What do you do? Do you start to mess with your lineup? Do you start to like grind through it? What do you do?
Well, first and foremost, we continue to pray that we get everybody healthy. I was talking to our trainer. We've had less than 5 days of practice with our rotation guys. And until you can practice together, you can't even begin to get chemistry, rotation, lineup. So hopefully we can stay injury free from here on out and develop some rhythm and consistency. At the same time, playing a schedule like we've played, I don't think we've played as hard a schedule as far as playing open up against Gonzaga and Spokane, and then Arkansas, and then turn around in the Bahamas, St. John's and Tennessee. And I don't know what Tennessee and Gonzaga is ranked this week, but I know a lot of people have them in their top 5, and there's a reason. One of the few teams that return a backcourt and enough veteran players that are successful to really give them an advantage early in the year. What it'll do for us is hopefully speed up our maturation process. So by the time we get to conference, we've seen the best. We've seen what works, doesn't work, and we're ready to put our best foot forward come conference time. But I know first and foremost, we got to get people healthy for practices. And I mean, strep throat, tweaked ankles, hamstrings, all that stuff. At the end of the day, you got to have people. You got to have people available to get that chemistry and rhythm.
Do you have everybody for the most part back for Wednesday against UConn?
Well, we've had VJ with his hamstring, so he's been limited. Rob tweaked his foot; he was out for a day. So we'll see today who we have. I'll let you know in a couple hours.
How tough mentally, and the perseverance and also the resiliency of Langston, who has had bad luck and then sometimes just part of attrition of playing the game. How do you keep him, and how has he handled all the frustration?
Well, I think with Langston, obviously we just got him back, and keeping him healthy moving forward is going to be paramount, where we can start to get some rhythm and chemistry. He told me, he goes, it's amazing what you don't know until you step on the floor and play with guys, from the standpoint, just the feel you have for the team, and what needs to improve, what needs to get better. And he's somebody that has been a part of our program, knows what we want offensively, defensively, and can provide great leadership in both those areas once he's able to get some rhythm and chemistry with the guys on the court. And you say, what has he learned? I think the word perseverance, and spiritually, we prepare champions for life. So spiritually, I think he's definitely grown through this. And at the end of the day, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And proud of where Langston is spiritually, academically, character formation. And hopefully we keep him well the rest of the year so the basketball part can take care of itself.
Absolutely. So you have what you guys have dealt with. UConn is in not a free fall, but my goodness, they've lost 3 in a row. Hurley's always mad, but now, and then Houston has had a couple of hickeys too. What do you explain that? Is that just really good scheduling and maybe teams not quite where they need to be?
No, I think first, when you have elite teams playing elite teams, you're going to have people get losses, and when you play on neutral courts, that makes it hard as well. So you look at it, and UConn was right there in all 3 of those games. They could have been 3-0 just as easily as 0-3. With Houston, same thing. They could be undefeated right now, but I think that just when you have scheduling used to be maybe 1 or 2 marquee games in the non-conference schedule. Now you're seeing a lot of teams playing 3, 4. In our case, we'll have 5 after this Wednesday, and normally that did not happen before. So you're going to have more losses. I mean, if you take the top 4 football teams, and if 2 of them play each other, then you're going to have 2 teams lose that are in the top 4. Doesn't mean they're bad teams, just means when you have the best playing the best, someone gets a loss.
Yeah, I saw where Hurley mentioned that he didn't want to do these that tournament again, and obviously
Yeah.
he's got he's scarred right now. But they've won 2 in a row. Are those tournaments going to be affected by what's going on in Vegas and elsewhere? Or do you feel like that's still going to be that's what people go and play?
No question. I think if you have NIL tournaments, and how you are able to attract talent is through NIL. People are gonna play more NIL events, and there'll be more NIL tournaments. That'll definitely happen because at the end of the day, that's part of recruiting, and uh, that's why it's sad for tournaments like Maui and other things that have been around a long time. But again, different rules. You got to go to different systems or different thoughts or ways of doing things to keep up.
How do you measure what you want to do with this team, and yet also the preseason is running out? You have a
Yeah.
game at the end of this month in the Big 12. When do you say, okay, we still need time to gel, or do you start to make major changes?
Well, I think first you look at it. We lost at Gonzaga, and normally teams that return players have an advantage. We lost to Tennessee. Same thing can be said to that, and I would think both those teams, if you played a national tournament right now, would be 2 of the Final 4 teams from the standpoint they have such an advantage having the end of the day in college football. I'm sure it's the quarterback position, and basketball, it's your guards. And if you have returning guards that know the system, know what the coach wants, and they're really talented players, that gives you such a big advantage early in the year. But that's why you play a non-conference and a conference, so that you can have a team at the end of the year that peaks. And for teams like us that have had 1 returning starter, and you've had Langston back in practice for a couple days and in a couple games, it's going to take time for us to get chemistry and the rhythm, and then as that happens, we'll be better and better. And at the same time, playing the schedule you play, as you know, those things are decided a year in advance, sometimes 2 or 3 years in advance. So if I'd have gone in the beginning of the year knowing that we wouldn't have everybody healthy like this, you would change some of the things you would do. But at the same time, if you planned on having everybody in the summertime and hopefully having some rhythm and chemistry in the beginning of the year to give yourself a better chance to be successful. But at the end of the day, again, in the Big 12, there's no cupcakes, and you got to bring it each and every night. So the sooner you see what you got to do to be successful against other elite teams, that'll help you for Big 12 play for sure. But again, this has been tough playing 5 early on. I don't know if in 22 years we played 5 this caliber in the beginning of the year. And I mean, Mark Few, Hall of Fame coach, great program. Rick Barnes, Hall of Fame coach, great program. Rick Pitino, Calipari, Hall of Fame, great programs. Hurley, Hall of Fame. I mean, so you're going to get exposed if there's any weakness in your armor.
Scott, you have a team that can shoot the threes, and I know that doesn't always work, but that's what people want to guard against in this day and age of
Yeah.
basketball. Are you able to find ways to get mid-range jumpers and
Yeah.
look at that trend? You seem like you got guys that are pretty good at running that floater down the lane.
Yeah, I think everything is if you base it on analytics, everybody wants a three or at the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Then as a coach, you got to find out what exceptions to the rules are there. And if you find a player that's good in the mid range, obviously you're going to let them take those. If you got last year, Ray J. Dennis's floater was elite, and at the same time in the first couple games, I think he was taking floaters from the free throw line. Later in the year, he was taking more high percentage floaters. So I think every year things are a little different. You adjust to see what's working, what's best for the team, and then you sacrifice a little of your game for what's best to the team every year, and that's part of being on a team.
Well, last thing, how would you describe Dan Hurley?
Someone that does a tremendous job getting the most out of his teams, and obviously very passionate and emotional, but at the same time, coaching wise, when you win 2 back-to-back national championships like they've done, especially with the parity nowadays, that's really impressive. So hats off to him. Us coaches' sons stick together, and I know he's got a great father figure that taught him a lot, and I know the Drew family and Hurley family have a lot of respect for each other.
Scott, thank you very much. Good luck at UConn. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. You gonna be there, Smokey?
No, I'm not. I'm getting ready to go down to Florida to see my 2 brothers because we lost one of them earlier in the year. So we're going to go down and have a little get together, little time. Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Be safe. Thanks, Smoke.
I will. Scott Drew, Baylor men's basketball coach with us, 365 Sports.